speaking of that,
speaking of answering
questions, I think that Taz kind of threw Punk for a little bit of a curveball when cutting Punk off in his promo. As the resident CM Punk slappy here, Bonds, tell us. I mean, I love CM Punk, but we're still way too soon after All Out. I still a little bitterness towards Punk after putting away my guy Darby Allin.
Yeah.
Still having a little bitterness towards him. So why don't you take over and be positive here? Tell me what you felt about Punk coming out, speaking about his in-ring matchup at All Out, and how that whole thing played out.
Well, Punk started off this segment by talking about, it was kind of like riding a bike. You don't really lose it. Plus, he's been training MMA. We all kind of know that in the background. So the ring rust wasn't there. We saw it in person. He looked like CM Punk, which was great. Yep. And then when Taz interrupted him, it made for some really cool stuff, as our resident Team Taz slappy as well.
Yeah, that's true.
I get the best of both worlds here, man. I get to see, CM Punk and potentially versus Ricky Hobbs or Hook, even Punk said, and Powerhouse Hobbs, man. We get to see all these guys, Ricky Starks, all these guys, FTW title, all these guys potentially wrestling CM Punk. And we're fans of all of them. We want to see Hook in the ring finally. And we're all huge fans of Powerhouse and Ricky Starks. So when Taz got in there and kind of alluded to these matches that could be happening, and insulted Punk for this honeymoon period that seems to be going on indefinitely. He's got that year tour, his return tour, where he's just going in front of the fans and he's cheering him, and he's just like, "You guys are great, it's awesome." And I liked that Taz was the one that interrupted.
The cult of personality momentum, we all love it.
Oh yeah, as he should. If you got the momentum, use it,
man.
Bro.
I mean, I know that we Bond certainly loves himself some Team Taz, and he loves himself some CM Punk. So he's pure fanboy right now, and who can blame him? I mean, I think obviously CM Punk's return is massive, and a huge push for the AEW going forward. Mm-hmm. But I think here at in our team, we've been talking about it. Powerhouse Hobbs. His immersion, his ability to really transform himself. When we first saw him, he was really a raw baby face. And now when we watched him tonight, I mean, you would have never guessed that this guy was the underdog babyface story, because the way that they cut off CM Punk, kind of nuked his feel-good moment, and then the way that Powerhouse Hobbs wrestled that match against Dante Martin, just bullying him. Out of Team Taz, I mean, obviously, Punk's named Hobbs quite a few times about it as a guy who he sees upside in. But am I crazy for thinking that Ricky Starks versus CM Punk could be a program in and of itself? I mean, both.
Yeah, those guys on the mic. I mean, yes, it makes sense in terms of physicality because of size comparison, but those guys both have charisma. I mean, CM Punk was, he's obviously one of the top baby faces in the company right now, just in terms of, his new addition. He was putting everyone over all night, which was great. And I loved how Taz was on commentary and he was getting so heated. And so, the fans there didn't get to hear all that, but that added such another element to the whole promo and all that. So for him to get all heated and for, Hobbs, who CM Punk and everyone we talked to is talking so highly about, is there in his corner. I think this is a good transition, and we've talked about Team Taz kind of being in a rut in a little sense. Ever since this turn on Cage, which was good. We wanted Cage to kind of ride momentum with the babyface, but they were still in a little rut in the way they were booking it. And I feel like anyone could be booked against CM Punk, whether it be in a tag match or singles run through, and it's going to work.